Hey guys, you literally can't miss what's happening right now. 2025 is the year crypto regulation is finally happening across the board. The game changer we need to talk about: crystal clear rules for our entire crypto world. And here's the wild part. This whole movement just exploded into the spotlight this year. The moment this new administration walked through those doors, boom, crypto suddenly became the main event. But here's what's amazing. We're talking about smart regulation that actually helps innovation thrive, not crushes it. This means powerhouse companies like Ripple are finally getting that green light to absolutely explode and reach heights they've never seen before. And going back to this August article, the SEC is laser focused on creating crystal clear crypto rules following that massive Ripple case. Shout out to Adkins for breaking this down. And yo, we actually covered this already, didn't we? Like we were breaking this whole thing down. Look at this. Commissioner Pierce is absolutely spitting facts right here. Now that we've wrapped up this chapter for good, let's redirect all that energy from those endless policy meetings. Where should we laser focus next? Building an ironclad regulatory system that supercharges innovation while keeping every single investor protected. Enter Project Crypto. The thing I'm really zeroing in on with crypto regulations. Companies like Ripple, they've been playing this game on expert mode for forever. Seriously, these guys have been laser focused on public policy for years upon years. They genuinely wanted to play by the rules from day one. They were literally begging to work with regulators, right? But here's where it gets crazy. Nobody would give them that chance. Now look, I know some of you have been riding this crypto wave with me for ages, but I'm seeing tons of fresh faces too, and that's totally cool. If we rewind to 2020 and before, getting FaceTime with the SEC, that was actually pretty doable. You could literally book a meeting with these folks, but companies like Ripple would walk into these meetings with good intentions and then crickets. The SEC would give them absolutely nothing back. Zero guidance on how to actually follow rules that, plot twist, didn't even exist yet. So what would the SEC do with all that info these companies shared in good faith? They'd flip it around and use it like ammunition against them. It was basically a shakedown operation, like something straight out of a mob movie. You know what I'm saying? They'd snatch up that information, totally bulldoze these companies, and then drop the ultimate power move. Oh, you want to stay in business? Time to pay up. That was literally the SEC's playbook before 2025. Pure extortion vibes. But here's the plot twist that's got me absolutely fired up. Today, complete 180 factorial. And can we just give props to Ripple for a hot second? These legends never threw in the towel, kept knocking on the SEC's door like that friend who won't stop texting you back. Now we're finally watching this underdog story unfold in real time. But hold on to your hats, because what's really blowing my mind right now is this framework for a market structure bill that's about to drop. All right, guys, here's why we're absolutely obsessed with this thing. We're talking about full clarity for crypto. This is the bill that's going to completely unleash the crypto space in ways we've never seen before. We're talking enterprise-level adoption, institutional money flowing in, and ultimately that massive retail adoption we've all been waiting for. This is literally our roadmap to get there. We absolutely need this framework locked and loaded. And guess what? In this breakdown today, I'm giving you the complete inside scoop on exactly what this market structure legislation actually does for us. So why are we going absolutely crazy for this legislation? Listen up. The US financial markets, they're basically the gold standard, the champion, the Michael Jordan of global markets. We're talking about bulletproof infrastructure, see-through transparency, and efficiency that makes other countries jealous. For decades, these markets have been America's secret weapon, pumping out economic growth like a money printing machine, birthing the next big innovations, and turning regular folks into millionaires left and right. So here's the thing about our markets. They're built on this really smart idea that whatever you're doing, that's what determines which rules you have to follow. Pretty straightforward, right? And you know what? This approach has been absolutely crushing it for US markets through wave after wave of tech innovation. We're talking about everything from when electronic trading first blew up to when those super complex derivatives became a thing. And here's what's crazy. Without this regulatory backbone we've got going, there's just no way we'd be seeing the incredible growth that's happening in these markets right now. It's literally the foundation that makes all this expansion possible. All right, let's talk about crypto market structure legislation. This is absolutely huge, guys. This is literally the golden key we've been waiting for that's going to unlock trillions, yes, trillions of dollars flooding into this space. We're talking about real tokenization happening. Public blockchains finally hitting that mainstream adoption we've all been dreaming about. But here's the thing. None of this magic happens without proper legislation first. So let's dive into this market structure bill, and I'm going to break down just a few key points for you. First up, it's going to close those pesky regulatory gaps. This legislation is going to be like turning on the lights in a dark room for digital asset businesses and consumers. No more stumbling around wondering what's allowed. And get this, we're finally pulling these digital asset platforms out of the regulatory Wild West and giving them a proper home in the official framework. But here's what I love most. It's not just playing defense against risks. It's actually embracing all the mind-blowing opportunities that digital assets are creating. And here's the beautiful part. This whole thing is going to supercharge market efficiency. We're talking about giving every player in the game crystal clear, predictable roles. No more guessing. We'll tackle identical risks with identical regulations. Consistency at its finest, people. But wait, it gets better. Your financial privacy stays locked down tight while we simultaneously slam the door on bad actors trying to sneak into our system. And investors, consumers, you're completely covered with bulletproof oversight that'll absolutely demolish corruption, fraud, and any sketchy misconduct. Look, this is precisely, and I cannot stress this enough, precisely why we're putting everything we've got behind this initiative. So here's what everyone's dying to know right now. Where do we actually stand with this market structure legislation? Any fresh updates for us? Okay, listen up. Once you hit that end screen, you're going to realize we actually have a legit timeline for this whole thing. Now check it out. We've got some breaking intel from the Financial Services GOP that traces back to September 8th, where the Clarity Act basically drops all the essential tools to create a federal framework for digital asset market structure. Look, it's absolutely crucial that the Senate gets this bill across the finish line so America stays on top in the digital finance game. So Tom Emmer dropped this post on the 7th that totally got picked up by the Financial Services GOP, basically saying, hey, the Senate needs to step up and seal the deal on America's pro-crypto future by passing the Clarity Act. And Monica Long just had this massive meeting recently. Blockchain is literally the future of money, but it's like having a Ferrari stuck in traffic, you know? It's trying to merge with all these ancient financial systems. And the biggest speed bump? Legal red tape in America, aka where all the money magic happens globally. But here's where it gets juicy. Everything's about to explode in the best way possible. We're seeing the Genius Act roll out, Clarity making waves, and boom, the Responsible Financial Innovation Act is cooking up something special in the Senate right now. Trust me, the revolution is finally getting its green light. Honestly, it blows my mind how these lawmakers are actually reaching out to us, like genuinely wanting to hear what we're building and how it works in the real world. They're not just throwing regulations at us blindly. They're committed to crafting smart legislation that keeps consumers safe while letting innovation flourish and adapt as things evolve. Seriously, huge props for spearheading the RFIA work. That leadership means everything right now. And did you catch that? She actually called out everyone involved during today's DC roundtable. Oh, wow. And guess what? She was actually there at this roundtable. We're going to dive deeper into this in just a second, but honestly, I'm so pumped to see crypto market structure finally getting written into law with support from both sides. This is literally going to set America up to lead the entire blockchain revolution. And check this out. This was the image they posted with it. Now, here's the thing about Charles Hoskinson. We had an absolutely incredible meeting today. And can we just talk about how XRP Nation and the Ripple team absolutely crushed it? Same goes for A16Z. They were on fire. So there's still a ton of work ahead of us, but I'm actually really excited about the bipartisan progress we're seeing on legislation this year. Like, this is genuinely happening. I just got this awesome update from Eleanor Tourette, and she's following up on that tweet I dropped last night about the banking GOP roundtable from this morning. Not only were Charles Hoskinson, Ripple, and A16Z there, but I'm hearing that folks from Kraken, Coinbase, Multicoin, Paradigm, and Circle showed up too. Pretty incredible lineup, right? This kind of industry representation at these discussions is exactly what we need to see more of. So we just wrapped up this hour-and-a-half meeting, and wow, we were really diving deep into the language for this market structure draft. And let me tell you why this legislation is absolutely game-changing. We're not just talking about your typical finance folks here. The thing that was driving everyone crazy with the SEC. They basically put their hands over their ears whenever crypto companies tried to explain anything. They were taking these old school financial rules and just slapping them onto crypto, thinking, hey, this'll work perfectly. But it gets really interesting when you actually look at what's happening in this space. We're dealing with something completely revolutionary. And now, things are getting absolutely wild. We've got the heavy hitters rolling up. I'm talking Ripple, A16Z, Kraken, Coinbase, Multicoin, Paradigm, Circle, Cardano. Like, seriously, the who's who of crypto is literally sitting in these rooms for hours, word by word perfecting this bill. This is huge, guys. For the first time ever, we're seeing the actual innovators, the people building this future, getting their voices heard, and making sure the language protects what matters most. These aren't just random observers anymore. They're actively shaping legislation that's going to determine whether innovation absolutely explodes or gets crushed. We really need to make sure crypto isn't getting totally screwed over by poorly written legislation, you know? I mean, look at what happened before. These crypto bills would come out and boom, there'd be this sneaky language buried in there, basically designed to destroy everything. Remember DeFi back in 2023? Perfect example right there. For years now, we've all been worried sick that this whole space would just get regulated into the ground through backdoor tactics. But here's what's got me excited. We're actually hearing from people who know this industry inside and out. That's honestly such a positive sign. And yeah, we got some insights from Brian Armstrong over at Coinbase too. So I just got back from DC and wow, I've been grinding these last few days trying to push through some crucial market structure legislation for crypto. This is literally how we make sure the crypto industry thrives right here in America. We're talking about driving real innovation, keeping consumers safe, and never again dealing with another Gary Gensler situation trying to strip away our rights. Here's the exciting part. There's actually solid bipartisan support behind this. But listen, I really need your help to get this across the finish line. The easiest way you can jump in? Just sign up at Stand with Crypto. They'll ping you exactly when it's time to reach out to your representatives. Super simple stuff. Oh, and listen to this video out real quick. It's only about a minute long, but it breaks everything down perfectly.
Hey everyone, I'm here in Washington, D.C. again, fighting for your rights to try to get some market structure legislation passed for crypto. This would be foundational, just like we did for stablecoins a few months ago with the Genius Act. Market structure legislation protects all the other non-stablecoin crypto assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. The Senate is strongly supportive of getting this done. The members that I met with on both sides of the aisle are ready to get this legislation passed, and there's draft text now being exchanged back and forth and with the industry for comment, which is great. We saw a lot of alignment today. Now, of course, this hasn't stopped the big banks from trying to throw a wrench into things, and they're trying to ban rewards on stablecoins. The members of the Senate who I spoke to, they're not going to let that happen. That was already litigated and decided in the Genius Act for stablecoins. They're not going to bring it up again. But barring these little details here and there, I think this thing has a good chance of getting done. I've actually never been more bullish on a market structure getting passed. It's a freight train leaving the station. So we're going to keep showing up and fighting for your rights. You can do a lot to help by going to standwithcrypto.org and contacting your representatives. Let them know that you want to see market structure legislation passed for crypto. Thanks.
All the big names in the crypto space are absolutely buzzing right now because they're convinced this thing is about to get approved any day now. And you know what? Just like I mentioned before, this really is like watching a massive freight train pull out of the station. There's no stopping it. We are literally looking at what could be one of the most game-changing moments in crypto history. Oh, and speaking of updates, we also got some interesting insights from Megan over here. Guys, she absolutely crushed it with this post. And this is coming straight from CNBC. No joke. The whole crypto legislation push is heating up. And here's where it gets absolutely wild. We've got actual dates on the calendar now. October to November, people. That's our window. By the time we're popping champagne for New Year's, we should literally be celebrating market structure legislation that's officially locked and loaded into law. Seriously, just listen to this.
Financial Services Committee Chairman French Hill is calling for crypto market structure legislation to be passed into law before the U.S. loses ground to Latin America and Europe. Chairman Hill joins us this morning. Mr. Chairman, it's good to see you. And I would ask you, what are you asking for? But all you got to say is you're asking for what's in that bill that the Senate is sitting on, right? There's a bill ready to go that would accomplish what you're asking for.
You bet, Joe. Good morning. Great to be with you. Happy 30th anniversary to the Squawk.
Thank you.
Glad to be on. Exactly right. We passed in the House in July the Clarity Act, which got 78 Democratic votes, meaning we had a strong bipartisan vote over the suspension of vote level in the House, meaning more than 290 members came together to vote for the Clarity Act, which is that market framework which will make America the most competitive digital asset nation in the world. When you combine it with the Genius Act that President Trump signed into law in July, which is the dollar-backed payment stablecoin legislation.
And you are somewhat gratified with what the Trump administration has done. There's been some progress, obviously, with the Genius Act, but what I didn't realize was how more advanced, is that the right word, for crypto use in the economy is in South America. And maybe even in Europe, in terms of legislation, where we're definitely ahead with liquidity, and we've had some good IPOs, but we're lagging without this structure in place.
That's right. We can't be competitive and lead the nation in fintech if we don't have this market framework. I told President Trump back in July that if you sign the Genius Act and you pass it, it's like passing a bill that authorizes the use of a cell phone, but you have no cell towers. You don't have the rules for custody, for dealing, for exchanging, for serving as a trader, for how you're going to actually operate a blockchain network inside the financial services industry. So we need both. They're both essential. And as you point out, the Senate is now considering the Clarity Act under Tim Scott's leadership in the Banking Committee and John Bozeman's leadership in the House of the Senate Ag Committee. And we hope that they will take prompt action on that this fall during the October and November timeframe. I'd love to see the Clarity Act pass the Senate before the end of the year.
Why is it? What's the problem? Who would bring it up and vote? Is that John Thune, Senator Thune, or what? Why? I don't understand why Republicans can't do this if they have a majority.
Well, it's being worked on. Kirsten Gillibrand in New York and Cynthia Lummis from Wyoming. Cynthia is the chair of the Subcommittee on Digital Assets, FinTech in the Senate. It's been referred to her committee. They've had a hearing. She has her own legislative ideas that are being discussed with both Republicans and Democrats in the Senate. So I do expect them to mark that bill up in the coming weeks. And I hope they'll use the Clarity Act that got 78 votes from Democrats in the House as their base text for passing their own bill.
So yeah, look, here's the deal, guys. We're talking about a timeline that's hitting somewhere around October, rolling into November to get this thing completely hammered out. And that's when we should start seeing some serious momentum building behind it. And here's what's crazy. This is playing out almost exactly like when the Genius Act became reality. We're seeing those same intense conversations starting to really catch fire right now. We locked in a timeline, things started picking up steam way faster than expected, and boom, we got that official green light way quicker than any of us were banking on. I mean, we were all thinking maybe it's the end of summer, right? But here's where this one gets interesting. I'm betting it's going to need a bit more runway simply because we're not dealing with something super focused like, say, stablecoins or one specific piece of the crypto puzzle. I'm thinking we'll have this thing completely drafted by late October, right? Then heading into November, and okay, I know we've got holidays throwing us some curveballs in November and December, but honestly, I'm betting we'll see this baby fully approved somewhere around late November, maybe early December at the latest. Bottom line, crypto regulation should be locked and loaded by year end. That's where I'm placing my bets. And listen, the momentum we're seeing right now is absolutely insane. This is it, people. That massive roadblock we've all been waiting to disappear, it's finally happening. And after that, dude, it's game over. Nothing's going to hold crypto back anymore. So listen up, fam. The second this crypto legislation gets that presidential signature, you better buckle up because we're talking massive adoption incoming. Explosive growth like we've never seen before. Utility is going to become the name of the game, people. This is literally our golden ticket to the moon. All right, squad, that's a wrap on today's video. If this got you hyped up, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely ring that notification bell because your boy's dropping fire content is completely free. Catch you in the next one.